Yeah, and this is a bit the same theme, slightly different. So, okay, one thing is corners that are followed by corners. So
Mm.
these you pay attention to the entry speed and then the exit of the last corner. But somewhat similar are corners that are either slow or they're long corners. And in these, you also don't need to take, a super wide entry to take a late apex because you lose a lot of time with that.
Okay.
Especially if it's a long corner, you spend a lot of time hanging out on the outside instead of coming into the apex.
Hmm.
And if it's a slow corner, if you shorten your travel distance by even a couple of meters, you're gaining a lot of time because you're traveling slow. So
Hmm.
instead of doing, go all the way wide and then cut the apex, you want to do the shortest route possible
Okay.
to cut some of the traveling you need to do. And this corner has a bit of H, is not that slow, but it's slow-ish, and it's a bit long,
Hmm.
and this has the benefit of having camber, and quite a bit if you look here on the inside towards the curb.
Right.
So this is a place in which this line is not very helpful.
Okay, so it is better to be on the inside because when I'm
Yes.
racing with people, a lot of people just blow by me on the inside, and I never really understand why. I'm like, they must have a completely different setup or something. So,
Yeah. No, no. Yeah, same setup is just the
yeah,
way of approaching it. And this is
awesome.
also a kind of place where, like I said, people will blow by the inside, where people will dive bomb and etc. And then the person outside will be, well, the fuck, I'm getting dive bombed all the time. The guy's too aggressive. Well, it's not that he's aggressive. It's just he's taking the normal line, and the normal line just
Okay.
happens to be faster. So he will end up on your inside.
I wonder how many times I've cursed someone out on one of my videos for dive bombing me in this corner. Like, you're not taking the racing line. Turns out I'm wrong. So this is super good.
So what helps to do in these corners is also think of the braking zone. What you want is from the place you're hitting the brakes towards the apex, you want a bit of a straight line.
Okay.
You brake towards the corner instead of braking straight here, and then you need to tighten your corner up a lot to make your way back to the apex. You just brake
Right.
straight towards the apex.
Okay. Are you still braking on that outside though?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, because this, if you brake on the inside, then the corner to get in there is too tight.
Still tight. Okay.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
by going from the outside, you widen your entry so you can carry a bit more speed. But that doesn't mean you need to go wide and then cut.
Right.
You just make it straight from here, and here you're already cutting, so you should be around here with
Okay.
with the car already pointing there
So
instead
I'm
of
pretty far off
there.
of where I could be to be carrying more speed and have a better line.
Yeah,
Or not really carrying more speed, but taking less distance off of that corner as
yeah,
well.
yeah.
Okay.
You would take less distance, and you would also very marginally brake a bit later, because of course if you can carry a little bit more speed, um, you can brake a bit later. And
Okay.
also another advantage is that you will brake on a more straight line. Because here what happens is you brake on a straight line, but then you need to let go of the brakes to make into the corner here, right?
Right.
Because if you keep braking here, you will spin. You can't.
Yeah.
You
Yeah, I don't
can't
have the traction to turn and brake.
exactly. So you need to let go of the brakes and then corner and then make all the way up there. What, I don't know, 5-6 meters of distance
Hmm.
that you wouldn't need to. So you're losing a ton. Um, if we have a look there at the motag, you see there. Um, Again, from this is the one from point
Yeah,
8 of the
wow.
braking zone to 1 second, so 2/10. You see how much later I brake
Hmm.
over there, but it's not only late braking. I can brake late because my line is slightly different.
Yeah, and you're holding your braking a little bit longer too,
Yeah,
just slightly. And it's just crazy, like looking at how your speed is just so much higher the whole way through.
yeah, yeah. So this would be a crazy. We're talking 15 kilometers an hour.
Yeah.
So this would be quite a dive bomb if I were to be behind you.
Yeah, I'd be
Uh,
swearing at you. And it turns out I'm the asshole.
No, I mean not asshole, but it would be a surprise for us both because my line
Yeah,
would put me there. If
yeah,
I
and
braked at
well,
my
I'm
normal
just
point, took my normal line.
yeah, and I'm just leaving it there for you, wide open to take your normal line and carry all this speed, and there's nothing I can do about it because where I'm at, I can't put any more speed into the car or I'll spin.
Yeah,
Whether it
definitely not.
be braking later or getting on the throttle earlier, I can't turn in any quicker. So obviously my line is just wrong, and that's good to know about these slow corners because I try and take every corner kind of the same way, where it's just, oh, take it wide, brake straight, take it wide, hit the apex, and then throttle out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, they're quite different, and I mean, of course, good tracks will have very very unique corners, but you need a
Yeah.
different line, different technique for each of them depending what you want to achieve. So, if this corner was um, I don't know, only 90 degrees, and if it
Mm.
had a long straight afterwards, then you would take this line. You would go out, come back to apex because then you need the throttle early to get out of it.
Okay.
But over here, the way the corner is, it makes no difference because have a look at that. How much earlier you put the throttle compared to me.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty good thing. But since I carried so much more speed on the deceleration, we actually exit with the same speed. Right?
Yeah,
So the
that's
speed here is exactly the same. So your whole effort to put the throttle really early is really not paying off.
yeah, it's lost.
It doesn't
And
matter.
there's even some points where I have to drop the throttle because I'm coming in a little too strong
Yeah, and it's mostly on your on
on the braking through there
the
again.
braking line.
Again,
Yeah,
the braking.
but it's not braking technique. I can't emphasize that enough because I actually envy your braking. It's pretty good. You have a good braking technique and you have good uh, bleeding off the throttle once you turn in. It's pretty good. It's pretty smooth. So
Awesome, thank you.
it's not about the pedal. It's the line into the corner and use
All right.
that. And I mean, quite a few corners here wouldn't have that same characteristic if they were really long corners, not that long of a straight afterwards, yada yada. But this one is even more because of the camber. So you're wasting this good juicy camber here.
Okay,
That
that's good
sucks
to
you in.
know.
So you really need to use that. You see that you never apex. So here again, half a car
So
win.
yeah. So the moral of the story so far is my line is bad.
Yeah. Well, it
All
can
right.
be
Well, no,
improved.
no.
I mean, you
Yeah, no. Bad doesn't mean that it's always gonna be bad. Like,
yeah
right. That's why we're talking now. Is
yeah
let's see how I can improve.
you clearly know the basics very well, including the line, but just need to tweak it a little bit here and there. Although yeah, the apexing is just probably something that you didn't notice, but once you do, just try to keep an eye on it. You need to
Yeah.
hear this rumble, you know?
I've got the what do you call it? Like the sim vibe set up on my rig. I gotta turn that back on because then you can feel the apex. So I think I'm gonna start doing that when I'm in practice races, just so like, oh, there's I just hit it. I can feel it in
Yeah.
my butt.
And some are a bit tricky, even at this track, which sometimes you hit the curb and it's a bit too harsh, and then destabilizes the car, and it's just okay, I went too far this time.
Yeah,
But
I'm
this one doesn't
still.
even have that disadvantage. You can actually use it, just like you did here.
Yeah,
Yeah, here you use it a little bit, and you can hear it, etc. It's the same thing. You need to be there with
I'm
your tires.
still like for some reason I think in my mind used to driving the old Star Mazda with like the version 4 tire model where if you hit the curb you were done.
Hmm.
So I'm still a little nervous about that, and I think it's just something mentally I've got to get out of because that's when I started taking iRacing seriously, and I was trying to be really good, and I was just focusing on like, all right, don't hit the curb. So I don't know if that's just an excuse I'm trying to make up
Yeah.
for myself, and if that's fine, then whatever, I'm making an excuse. But that I think is something that's always in the back of my mind. Is like, well,
Yeah.
do I want to hit the curb? Like I could spin. I don't. Why don't I just not hit it? So I'll try and keep that in my mind. That like the curbs are good for me. Most curbs are good for me.
Some
Certainly
curves
they're
are good.
yeah,
Certainly this one.
certainly
Yeah.
like yeah, turn one if you hit like there's the two levels of curb. If you hit the second level, your car's gone.
Yeah.
So I'll try and keep that in mind as I'm doing my laps after this.
Right. So, any questions regarding this one?
No, no, that all makes a ton of sense. Just
Cool.
the way I need to alter my line and really hit those apexes, I think is what something else I'm taking away. But generally the whole line, the way that I can come in and a little shorter, cut the apex earlier and turn in while I'm braking versus being straight and then coming out and having to get on the throttle early just to match your speed and losing all that time in the corner. That all makes a lot of sense.
Cool. So if you see this image,
Hmm.
like very next corner, and it's a long. This one is the one. Yeah, it's also a long corner. It's more than what 180 degrees, almost 180.
Yeah.
How would you brake to this corner?
I'd want to be a little bit more toward the outside, I guess, and then start braking in just like that previous corner, right? Because it's a long, slow corner. So if I want to turn in instead of brake straight, hit the apex, coast just a little, and then throttle out when I can. Right? Am I getting it?
Yeah, we're getting towards
All
there.
right,
It's a shame I can't
awesome.
scribble here with a pen. So yeah, what some people would do, including what I think you did, we'll see in a second, is break in a straight line this way,
Hmm.
and then be on the outside hanging to dry, and then turn in very late.
That's absolutely what I do every
Yeah,
time, and that's how I go into this corner. That's the way I want to approach it. Like I almost want to be completely on that white patch of pavement that's fresh or that's new there.
right. But that loses you a ton.
Right.
What you want to do is just like the previous corner. You want to break in a straight line because braking corner, full braking, full cornering doesn't work. But you want to break in a straight line towards there,
Hmm.
and then
All right.
about there is where you finish your braking, and finally apex. But you brake towards the apex there for the same reasons. It will reduce your travel distance.
Hmm.
Um, it will allow you to brake later and until later, because if you brake straight, then by here or so, you need to let go the brakes to turn, otherwise you just go
Right. I'm
straight
running out of
somewhere.
track.
Yeah. Whereas if you brake this way, you can keep the brakes, keep the brakes, keep the brakes. Over there, you let it go and then corner.
Yeah, and then I don't have to turn as sharply. I don't have to make as steep of a turn into
Yeah,
my apex.
perfect. Because if you go this way, you go there, and then you need to do a sharp bend that way.
Yeah, and
Whereas
that's I
if you go
think
here,
exactly what we'll
it's
see when you
smooth.
when you play the replay. I
Possibly, yeah.
think.
Yeah, this way. Whereas you want to be there.
This actually makes a lot of sense because I'm trying like I keep thinking like, man, I got to get the car to rotate more, and I think I'm relying on that too much in my setup because I'm requiring so much more rotation out of the car just to get out of these corners because I'm putting myself in a bad position with my braking line and where
Yeah,
I want to apex.
yeah, that would
So
make
I
a lot of sense.
so I can kind of take that out a bit, so maybe I can get that second corner more flat since I won't need this rotation on the throttle just to hit my apex and get out. As much of it, at least.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because once you get to this position here, when you start and let go of your brakes here, you need to corner a lot to get to your
Hmm.
apex over there. And this is
Whereas
what,
you'll be more on the inside,
yeah,
and
I'll be here,
yeah,
already pointing more to the right from the
right,
start. Like this for me doesn't happen. You see, you're pointing out.
straight up track, yeah.
Yeah, and this shouldn't happen. You should be here pointing towards the corner. Um,
This also explains why my tires tend to get more beat up than everyone else's. I'm putting more stress on the front, having to every corner make these extra sharp turns that are unnecessary. They're costing me time, they're costing me tires.
yeah. Let's have a look at the squiggly lines there. And your exit is actually a bit better. You get on the throttle a bit earlier,
Hmm.
and yeah, you get a little bit more speed there. Although you
But
get full throttle a bit earlier, but you gain
yeah,
a
then
little bit.
we're evened out. Like on the straightaway, we're at even speed, so
Yeah, but you see how these things are really, devils in the details. Just this
yeah.
bit, this much here that you put the throttle earlier, which
Hmm.
is just a few meters. Let me see how many meters. 3270, 3275. That's 5 meters. That
Oh,
gave you a tenth. Because we are here at 1.2,
yeah.
and by here, when we are at the same speed again, 1.1. So that's a tenth.
Right.
Just by those meters there.
Yeah,
But
and it seems to just compound throughout the whole lap. So it's
yeah, but I gained twice as much on the braking.
yeah, and that's where you're gonna make your passes too. There's probably might be one of the contributing factors to why I never pass anyone
Yep.
is whenever I'm gaining time on people, it's on exit of a corner and you're making all your speed on me on the entrance. So if we were racing, you'd pass me every time I tried to defend.
Mm-hmm.
And I would never be able to pass you because anytime I am gaining speed, it's just on the exit and we're just going side by side and a tenth isn't enough to put my car in front of yours.
Yep. And then we can see a couple of things here since you seem to understand it quite well, so we can go a bit forward so you're following. First, you stop braking here, right?
Mm-hmm.
So 3195 meters. I can carry my braking all the way there. So 50
Yeah.
meters. That's a lot. That's
Yeah.
half a football field that I'm
Mm-hmm.
braking more.
Yeah, so you're able to slow the car down over a longer distance. So you're carrying more speed through that whole time.
Yeah. Yeah, I can because when we get to the apex, you see that our speed is exactly the same. 121, 121. It's exactly the same. Well, in kilometers.
Right.
I need to warn, but it's exactly the same. It's just I can afford to slow down later, and
Right.
you can see why here. You see, after you release your brakes, you see the steering wheel angles.
Yeah.
How much you have to put in terms of steering after you release your brakes to get
Right,
to
because
the
I have
corner.
to turn in so steeply just to
Yeah.
make that apex.
Yeah, so you can't do braking there to put. You're putting at the corner entry. You're putting as much steering as you are at the apex.
Oh wow.
So you need to put all your steering at once at corner entry, almost. Whereas
Yeah.
you see my steering, I have 18 degrees. You have 67.
Yeah, you're gradually going into the apex and then gradually coming out of it.
Yeah, I'm at this point I'm almost going straight, like
Mm-hmm.
18 degrees, because I started here. You see, this is where we start braking. You're going straight. I have 11 degrees of steering already
Mm-hmm.
before I even start braking. And then I make it straight again for the full braking, and then a little bit again to start getting into the corner. So always that 14, etc. And then trail brake into it. So
That
it's
makes
just
sense.
much straighter line
Yeah.
through the entry. Cool.
Yeah, that I always feel like I'm putting too much. I feel like I'm pushing the wheel too far to one side, but I guess it's not that I'm necessarily turning the wheel too hard. It's that I'm turning it too hard too early. Is that what I'm getting out of that? Because of my braking entry line, I have
Yeah,
to do that to make the corner.
yeah. In this case, it is.
All
I
right.
think you're right in your intuition that you're turning the steering wheel too much,
Mm-hmm.
but it hasn't appeared yet. It's the next corner.
Oh, okay.
Like that's one thing that appeared a lot at Brent, so that's why usually I wouldn't even mention it's just one corner. I would just pass through it, but since I saw it quite a bit at Brent's, then it's something we need to have a look at.
Okay. Yeah,
But
I always feel like, oh, I'm pushing it too hard, but I can't I don't see any way to fix it. So this
mm,
is knowing that it's my line and the way that I'm entering to brake and the way that I'm able to carry speed through a corner, that's really helpful. So I'm really looking forward to like putting in some practice laps. I've got the day off today, so I'm going to be sitting here a lot.
yeah, and then never apex. See, almost a car width. And this is one of the examples that you don't want to hit this curb, because if
Yeah,
you hit
that'll
it, it's a pain in the ass. You need to lift again, and you lose a lot of speed. But your tires want to be on the yellow line on the qualifying lap,
okay.
probably on the black line in a race if you want to be a bit more safe. But yeah, it's at least half a car, almost a car width.
Uh,
I don't know what exactly it looks like for you. Yeah, I mean you can see the curb there almost in front of you, so I can understand why it feels like you're so close. But
right. I'll do what you said and take the chase cam and follow my lap after I feel like I've made a good one, just to realize the actual distance. Because I mean, you could almost fit a car in there, half a car.
yeah, yeah, and I mean One thing I would do, and I would even recommend before you even do the cam, is just do a few laps
Mm-hmm.
slower. Just slow down.
Okay.
Don't think about speed or taking the max speed, but think about your line. Just do the right line. So what you want to do is change a little bit the braking. You don't need to go crazy and change everything at once, but just a little bit of the braking. Instead of braking that way, you want to go that way a little bit.
Uh-huh.
But then again, you don't need to be at the limit of the car and then apex and then exit, but then try to apex. What will happen is that at some point you'll hit the curb,
Right.
and then okay, I went a bit too far.
Right.
But then you just keep doing it until you nail it lap after lap, until you know you are as close as you can without hitting it.
Okay.
And then you get that feeling. How does it feel from inside the car? What does it look like from inside the car? To do that.
That makes sense.
And slowing down is important for that, for a lot of reasons, including if you touch there, and you're going at the limit and really early on the throttle and yada yada, you're going to lose the car, and then you get frustrated and need to start another lap. Practice gets boring, and then next time you're here, you think, okay, I'm going to leave a safety margin because I don't want to hit that and screw my lap.
Yeah.
Or you're coming in a really fast lap, and oh my god, I can clock a 27, so I'm not gonna get too close there because I don't want to make a mistake, and so on. So just forget all that and focus on the line regardless.
Okay. Yeah, I guess getting out of my own head, trying to think about it too much, and just drive.
Yeah.